Good afternoon, everyone. And now I am back. I'm Jeremiah Salvador Tuliao from the College of Education, Philippine College of Science and Technology. And now we are going to tackle about the defense system of our body or the immunology. Yan po. And so, sige po, let's go. So, let's define what are the two parts of immunity. First is the passive immunity. Passive immunity, immunity that is obtained from the outside source. Example, the antibiotic or colostrum. And the active immunity, while the active immunity, immunity that is obtained from the immune system actively depending or defending the body. Example, the vaccines, immunity after having a disease. Diba? Yan po. And next is the breakdown of the immune system. Paano nga ba or ano nga ba yung mga dahilan kung bakit nag-breakdown yung immune system natin? A first line, non-specific line of defense, which is the barriers. A second non-specific line of defense, the inflammatory response or general attack. Lastly, a third specific line of defense or targeted defense, comprising primary immune response, launches a response to invading pathogens. Secondary immune response, the T cells or B cells produce antibodies to find antigen. Faster response the second time around. Okay po. What are the basic and terms in the immunology? First, the pathogen. It is any agent, the bacterium, virus, etc. that can cause us trouble. Di ba natakal po natin kanina sa normal flora. Yan po. And number two is the non-specific defenses are the body's first line against disease. They are not directed against a particular pathogen. They guard against all infections regardless of their cause. Specific defenses are attempts by the body to defend itself against particular pathogens. Since pathogen must enter the body in order to cause disease, the body's first line of defense is to keep pathogens out. Yan po, di ba? Parang pag-inom po yan ng alak. Nung una po na pag-inom mo ng alak, hindi po basta-basta na, uy, ang sarap, di ba? Andun po yung, yak, ang pait, di ba? Parang mga ganon. Ganon na part. Ganon din po mag-react. Ganon din po mag-response o mag-respond ang ating body. Kasi hindi po niya ito sanay. At gusto niya healthy yung body mo. Yan po. Sabi niya dito, since pathogens must enter the body in order to cause disease, the body's first line of defense is to keep pathogens out. So, what organs is used for this? Salamin po natin. Basics continued about our topic. The body's most important non-specific defense is the skin. Di ba? First things first, the skin. The broken skin provides a continuous layer that protects almost the whole body. Very few pathogens can penetrate the layers of dead cells at the skin's surface. Diba po? Kapag tayo po ay nasugatan at ito po ay nalagyan ng infection or nalagyan ng mga disease or anumang virus or germs, di ba po ito po ay lalala. Di ba? Kaya first defense po natin na system is yung skin po pala. Oil and sweat glands at the surface of the skin produce a salty and acidic environment that kills many bacteria and other microorganisms. That is the very purpose of sweat. 'Di ba? Kapag tayo po ay pinapawisan, 'di ba? We are refreshed, 'di ba? Nararamdaman natin na yung mga dead cells natin is natatanggal din, 'di ba? Dahil palag dito na sabi niya oil and sweat glands at the surface of the skin produce a salty and acidic environment that kills many bacteria and other microorganisms. The importance of the skin as a barrier against infections becomes obvious when a small portion of skin is broken or scraped off. The infection almost always follows. Always remember that, guys. Infections are a result of the penetration of the broken skin by microorganisms normally present on the unbroken skin. Pathogens also enter the body through the mouth and nose. Yan po, minsan na-inhale natin, minsan nakakain din po natin. Part but the body has non-specific defenses that protect those openings. Yan po. And non-specific defenses, alamin naman po natin yung mga non-specific defenses natin. The mucous membranes that are tissues that protect the interior surfaces of the body that may be exposed to pathogens. Yan po, ito naman po yung mga nasa loob na katawan natin. They serve as a barrier and the secret mucus as sticky fluid that traps pathogens. Grabe, no? Mucus, cilia, and hairs in the nose are throat trap, viruses, and bacteria. Pathogens that make it to the stomach are destroyed by stomach acid and digestive enzymes. Many secretions of the body, including mucus, saliva, sweat, and tears, contain lysosome, an enzyme that breaks down the cell wall of many bacteria. Grabe, no? Ang dami nating self-defense system pa lang. Diba? Self-defense system pa lang sa ating body is very important na. Hindi natin alam, 'di ba? May nagtatanggol na pala sa atin, 'di ba? Against the infections, 'di ba? Grabe. And sabi dito, but what happens if something gets past all that? Yan. So pag may nakatakas, ano nga ba? The inflammatory response, this is the second line of defense. When pathogens get past skin and mucous membrane, and enter the body, the second line of defense comes into play, triggered by injury to tissue in the body. The injured cells release a protein called histamine. Yan, remember the histamine, which starts the series of changes called the inflammatory response. Yan. Yan po. Yan po yung sample. The histamine, phagocyte, yan po yung mga bacteria, di ba? Yan. Yan. Yung nakikita nyo po yung mga small pigment na humaharang sa mga bacteria. Yan po yung histamine. The inflammatory response continued. The inflammatory response is a non-specific defense reaction of the body to tissue damage. Histamine increases blood flow to injured area and increases the permeability of the surrounding capillaries. As a result, fluid and white blood cells leak from blood vessels into nearby tissue. Pathogens are attacked by phagocytes, which are white blood cells that engulf and destroy pathogens. Grabe, may nakikipagdigma pala kapag tayo ay nasugatan, di ba? The most common phagocyte, 50-70% of the white blood cells in the body, it is the neutrophil. Neutrophils circulate freely through body cells and they can squeeze between cells in the walls of a capillary to reach the site of infection. They then engulf and destroy any pathogens they encounter. Grabe. Wow, di ba? Yan. Another type of phagocyte, also a white blood cells, is the macrophage. Diba? It is or they consume and destroy any pathogens they encounter. They also rid the body of worn out cells and cellular debris. Some macrophages or phages are stationed in the tissue of the body, awaiting pathogens, while other moves throughout the tissues and seek out pathogens. Yan po. Natural killer cells are large white blood cells that, unlike phagocytes, attack cells have been infected pathogens, not the pathogen. themselves, they are particularly effective in killing cancer cells and cells infected with viruses. Wow! A natural killer cell punctures the cell membranes of its target cells, allowing water to rush into the cell, causing the cell into burst. But if all that is not enough, if pathogen is able to get past the body in non-specific immune and reacts attack diseasing, this is called the immune response. A substance of triggers the specific defense of the immune system is known as antigen. An antigen is substance that is macrophage, WBC, the white blood cells, identifies as not belonging to the body. Yan, the immune response. The immune response involves several organs as well. White blood cells in the body of lymph. This includes the bone marrow, thymus, lymph nodes, tonsils, adenoids, and spleen. Each organ of the immune system plays a different role in defending the body against pathogens. Bone marrow manufactures the billions of WB cells needed by the body every day. Some newly produced WBC remain in the bone marrow, mature and specialize, while other travels into the thymus to mature. Lymph nodes filter pathogens from the lymph and expose them to white blood cells. The spleen, a fist-sized organ located behind the stomach, filter pathogens from the blood. It is stocked with WBC and respond the trapped pathogens. Wow. The lymphocytes, yan, makikita po natin. The white blood cells of the immune system are known as lymphocytes. Yan. And we also have the B lymphocytes, which are produced when matured bone marrow, are responsible for producing antibodies. The antibodies are special protein. Yan, natakal na po natin kanina. Next is the self and non-self distinction. Yan, the immune response, the last line of defense. The general idea is this. Sabi niya dito, something has got through the first lines of defense and entered the body of force. If the body has been invaded by the particular nasty thing before, then special lymphocytes called B cells and L cells are able to recognize these specific pathogens and overwhelm them, thanks to the immune system memory. Wow. If this is a new invasion, then the B cells will learn how to fight this invader. And then, remember for next time. Specific antigen. Yan, makikita po natin. Yan. Alright. Later on, yan, basahin nyo na lang po. Hypermutation. Yan, let's go to the summary. A pathogen comes along if it gets through the barrier skin. Yan, kapag pumasok siya, if, sabi niya doon, if we've seen in this one before, there are antibodies in the blood secreted by memory cells. These antibodies disable a non-tag invader. The tagging attracts killer cells to make sure it is destroyed. If we haven't seen this before, B cells and T cells are floating around with great variety of surface receptors. Wow! Diba? Grabe po yung use ng WBC sa ating katawan. Yan. So, that's all for this topic. So, sana po ay natuto po kayo, 'di ba? Ang nakita ko lang po dito is very powerful yung kinreate ni Lord within our body, 'di ba? Even the smallest thing, meron silang part. Or akala natin wala lang, pero may bagay na tumutulong sa atin. May nakikipagdigma pala sa atin, 'di ba? Kahit mga maliliit na bagay. So, yun lamang po. Thank you and God bless.